Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and today I'm gonna make my first 2028 prediction for the presidential race. I'm just gonna imagine a scenario between Vice President JD Vance and probably former Vice President Kamala Harris. I think those are gonna be the candidates, at least so far. Um, Kamala Harris is very favorable in order to win the Democratic primary in 2028. I'm just saying this because Kamala Harris said last week or 2 weeks ago that she's not going to run for California governor in 2026. So that means she might run for president in 2028 to have a rematch to be elected president, or the first female president of the United States ever. Also, JD Vance, Trump said multiple times that JD Vance is probably his successor, and that's probably what's gonna happen in the future because JD Vance is favorable in every polls to be the nominee, the Republican nominee. I also think Marco Rubio could be a nice catch. I prefer Marco Rubio instead of JD Vance. That's my personal opinion. I think Marco Rubio would be a better candidate, but that's just another topic for another video. So in terms of the safe states, I would think you need to know that Oregon and Washington, California, also New Mexico and Colorado, also all of those except from New Hampshire, because New Hampshire was only a 2 point win for Kamala Harris, also Illinois, also New York, and probably Maine first, Maine at large, Nebraska second as well. I'm sorry, not Maine second. So this would be, and also Ohio, of course, this would be, without any doubt, all the states that are very safe for the Democratic Party. Then you go for the Republican Party, you get all of those. Then you go all of those states, including Nebraska at large. Also, I'm sorry, not Georgia, of course. Um, and this would be a very interesting race because President Trump says multiple times that he wants to go to a third term, but that's not constitutional possible. We need to have a change in the constitution basically for that to happen. But I don't think that's gonna happen, to be honest, you guys. But that is just how it is. So this would be the map with all the safe states laid out. 202 for the Republicans, 199 for the Democrats, and I'm sorry, I forgot Ohio. 219 for the Republicans and 199 to the Democrats. I didn't put Virginia into the Democratic column because yeah, I mean, Virginia is a Democratic state in transition since 2008, since Obama won for the first time in 2008. Virginia has been going Democratic, more and more Democratic over the course of the last few years. But also, Biden won by 10 points, the state of Virginia, Commonwealth Virginia, if you will. And now Trump lost by about 5 points, 5.5 points, I think. So Kamala did worse than Biden in Virginia by 4.5 points. Virginia is has a lot of suburbs: Loudoun County, Prince William County, Rico County, also Chesterfield County, all the Virginia Beach City area. Those are very important constituencies for the Democratic Party that the Democratic Party has made inroads throughout the last few years because of white women, also men with college degrees, and that was partially because of what Virginia has turned between a red state, a purple state, and now kind of a blue state. That's why I'm gonna put that as a safe. No, I think Virginia is gonna be a win for the Democrats by 7 to 8 points, depending on. Of course, Trump's mandate, but not only that, I think the Democrats are going to continue to make inroads in those communities. Also, North Carolina, I think that this will be. I'm just going to put in this color. I think North Carolina is going to be a lean Republican state in 2028 because Trump and the Republican Party as a whole made a lot of inroads inside the black communities, especially. You go to North Carolina and you know this part here. Here you have a lot of black majority counties. Also there here in the border with Virginia Beach City area, border to the Commonwealth of Virginia, and the Republicans did a lot of inroads in those communities. That's why I think North Carolina has a lot of black people, especially around the Research Triangle, Raleigh area. You have the of course, Wake County there, Durham County, Orange County, all of those counties around there, Greensboro as well, have a lot of black people, and they're probably gonna have a swing to the Republican Party at least in the next few years as well. Then you go to Georgia. Georgia has also a very large amount of black people, especially here. You also have a Democratic member of the House in this Sanford Bishop here in Georgia, and I do think Georgia is going to end up red by a smallest margin than North Carolina, but will we end up red in the next in 2028 election? Because Georgia was a state that we don't went to Biden by 11,779 votes, the infamous 11,000 votes, because there was some calls that Trump made to the Secretary of State of Georgia to ask if he can find 11,800 votes so he can win the state. So he can win the state in 2020. Of course, that was just illegal. That was just terrible to watch that scene happening in America. But that is business for another video as well. And now you move to Georgia. You have Arizona and Nevada. I'm letting the blue wall and New Hampshire to last. So Arizona, I think, is going to end up Republican as well, because Arizona was a state that went for Biden by 10,000 votes, and then it went all the way to Trump. There was a 4.5, 5 points win in 2024. I think it was even bigger than 2016. So would you say that you have the suburbs here around Maricopa County? Maricopa County is Phoenix, one of the largest counties in America, also one of the fast-growing counties in America. Phoenix is growing and it's growing fast. I think Arizona is going to get one more electoral vote in 2030. In 2030, I'm sorry, 2030 redistricting in terms of the census. I think they're going to get one more electoral vote because they deserve it. They're getting a lot of people there, and also Nevada. I think it will end up Republican by a lean margin, or a not lean, but I think competitive margin, because like 2 to 3 points, because Nevada is basically a state that has a lot of Latino population, especially around Las Vegas, and they're trending to the right, just like in the Rio Grande Valley. I'm just always talking about the Rio Grande Valley, but this is one of the biggest transformations in the map over the last few years. The Republicans made huge inroads, basically. You can have one county here, which is Webb County, just right here. It's Laredo, basically, and Webb County went for Hillary Clinton in 2016 by 70% to 30%, and now it went for Trump in 2024. Kind of a 55-45, I think, or something like that. But Trump won the county, and that was just powerful in terms of the Trump coalition in 2024 was more diverse than the 2016 coalition, than the 2020 coalition as well, because of a lot of black voters, a lot of Latino people, and they voted massively for Trump. Now Trump is at JD Vance, or average Republican, if you will, is at 268. So they need 2 electoral votes more. New Hampshire, even though it has a Republican governor, Kelly Ayotte. Yeah, I think it's her, Kelly Ayotte. She's a Republican governor. I think it's going to end up Democratic just barely. This is a state that it has a lot of independents. It has more Republicans than Democrats, registered Democrats, but it's a state that is Democratic overall. Trump lost in 2016 by only 3,000 votes. Then Biden won by 7.5 points. Then Kamala Harris won by 2 points. This is a state that shifted a lot, 5 points basically in about 4 years. But also New Hampshire it's a very interesting state, by the way. We're gonna have gubernatorial elections. I think it's each 2 years they have the gubernatorial elections, same as Vermont. But that one is gonna be an interesting stuff. And now I'm thinking about this. I marked New Jersey as a safe Democratic, but I'm just gonna select to lean, because New Jersey wasn't the surprise of the 2024 election. For me, it was not a surprise at all, but for most people, it was a surprise, because New Jersey was only for Kamala by about 5 points, I think. It was a 17 points win for Biden, so that was a 12 points shift in only 4 years. That is brutal. Also, Jack Ciattarelli lost New Jersey in the gubernatorial election in 2021 by only 2 points or 3 points, was something like that, and now he's wanting to win the election this year in the 2021 gubernatorial and 2025 gubernatorial race in New Jersey. We're gonna have a full coverage in November about that, and I think he's gonna be very competitive, more competitive than people think. But that's just a business for another video. I also have one video in the channel about that race as well, about Virginia and New Jersey gubernatorial elections this year. And now you move to Minnesota. This one of the surprises of the 2024 as well election, because Kamala chose Tim Walz to be the vice president candidate, as you know, but she only won Minnesota by 3 points, worse than Biden, even having Tim Walz as the vice president. And people say he's a very popular governor. I'm not saying he is, or whether he is or not, because I don't know. I'm just gonna say that's what people say about him. But the results were basically terrible for Kamala in Minnesota. But I think it will end Democratic. You know, an interesting fact about Minnesota: the last time Minnesota voted red, I think it was before Jimmy Carter, when Richard Nixon won the presidency, because it was the single state basically, apart from Washington D.C., that voted blue in the Ronald Reagan sweep against Walter Mondale, and that is just. I mean, Minnesota is staying blue, blue, blue over the course of last years. Trump almost won it in 2016, but since then it was basically not a contest at all. Then you move to the three big blue wall states. You have Pennsylvania, you have Michigan, and you have Wisconsin. Let's start Michigan. I think it will end Democratic just slightly, but I think it's going to end Democratic in 2028. And I'm going to move to Wisconsin. And I think Wisconsin is going to end Democratic as well by the same margin of Michigan, probably a little bit more competitive than Michigan as well, or a little less competitive, I don't know. But let's just put those errors. And now at Pennsylvania, I'm going to say Pennsylvania is going to end up red in 2028 election, because I think the Republicans have made huge inroads in terms of voter registration there, and I think they're going to win Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is one of the states that has been trending right over the course of the last few years. I know it has a Democratic governor, Josh Shapiro, very popular governor, by the way. They got 55% of the vote in last 58% of the vote, I think, in the last 2022 gubernatorial election. It also has now a new Republican senator, McCormick, I think, and he also has a Democratic senator, John Fetterman, and next year in 2026 we're going to have a gubernatorial election there. It's going to be very interesting to watch, but Josh Shapiro is likely to win re-election. So this is a very interesting map. This is the map we're starting the night, 287, 251. This was my final map, my final projection in going to the 2024 election. I thought Kamala would have won Wisconsin and Michigan. She didn't, but that was my expectation. And I think this is my expectation, at least for now. For the time being, I think we're going to end up in a Republican win in 2028. JD Vance was probably going to be the next president of the United States, but this is just my prediction. I'm not saying he will. There's still a long way to go until the end of the Trump's presidency, for a lot of hate for numerous people, for a lot of enthusiasm for a lot of people as well. And let's just see. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your like down below. Thank you.